Being human. Do you ever wonder what makes us who we are? Our habits, preferences, or where we came from? We are expressing ourselves in thousands of ways every day through our choices. Let's have a conversation with people who are having interesting lives. My name is Alun Walker. I'm a doctor of chiropractic and a human being. I'm Dr. Alun Walker, and I would like to welcome you again to, I think this is the 6th podcast of Being Human. And with us today, we've got a good friend of mine, Dimitri Easy. And Dimitri, he's someone who was not born in this country. We'll explain more about that later. He's here, lives in this country with his wife and his child. And Dimitri's interested in many things, very similar to me. Spirituality, he's interested in music, and he enjoys festivals as I do, and travel. So I wanted to bring him on because of it, well, to be honest, he likes to talk about all the things I like to talk about. So welcome, Dimitri. I'm glad to have you on.
Thank you.
It might be a good idea just if we start off just talking about whereabouts you're originally from, and also your wife, and where your parentage, where your parents live, whether they live in this country or where they're living now. Are they still alive? What do they do for a living? That sort of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I came from Latvia, which is northern Eastern Europe.
Never heard of it. No. Doesn't ring a single bell.
It's right on the border with Russia, and it has a long history of changing sort of governments. There used to be Russia, then used to be German, used to be under Sweden. Now it's independent. So my parents came from Latvia as well, but none of them live in Latvia, neither me, because when economy is improving, but about 18 years ago when I moved to UK, it was a bit still poor state after Soviet Union collapse, where it was change of it was massive kind of economical and political crash or disaster, which changed a lot. And we have moved out.
How old were you then?
I was 22, 2004 I moved.
Yeah. You're working at the time, or?
Yeah. Actually, I was working in doing painting, decorating.
Yeah.
And I hated it. And we had this old flat, which we were making it up. And there was cockroaches, thousands of them, which I had to exterminate before start work on it. And I was swearing, I was spraying all this. We were working with a mask, and I received a call from a friend who already moved here, and he offered me a job.
That's probably the worst job I've ever heard in my life. You have to clear out the dirt and the cockroaches before you can start and get it painted. And
it's just like
I'm 22. It's
if you got late shift, you come into the kitchen, turn the lights off, and they just thousands of them goes everywhere. It's terrible. Yeah, and I didn't think straight away. I said yes, without even knowing where I'm going, because we were like cling to any opportunity.
After that job, you didn't care where you were going.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
no longer Latvia.
Yeah. So I moved to a nice place called Weymouth, and where I was working in welding. And
UK?
Yeah, UK. Yeah.
Weymouth?
Yeah, Weymouth, UK.
I've heard of Weymouth, UK. It's beautiful down there.
Lovely place, seaside. I'm born near seaside, so it's really resonated with me. And however, there was not much engineering. I was a welder at the time, working fabrication welding. And after 6 months, was no more work. So then when I moved to Northampton, and I stayed here since.
Where did you meet your wife?
Met my wife in Latvia. We actually went to school together, but then didn't see each other for 15 years. And then on the social networks, by accident, we sort of met. Yeah.
That was amazing. I didn't realise that you met.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it's actually it's more to that story, but I'll tell you.
Okay.
At some other occasion. And my parents actually then, after I already moved, my parents moved as well. My mother is now in Germany. My dad actually in Edinburgh.
Okay.
He's in another family.
Yeah. I think Germany sounds better than Wellingborough, but I might regret saying that.
Yeah, so it's just standard story of thousands and thousands of immigrants like from Eastern Europe, just moving. First, it's for like better money, better life, more stability, because you can get a job. I had a nice job before that cockroach things, but it was like you get paid maybe once a month, and then 3 months. Oh, sorry, we haven't got money. You have to wait, and you have to feed your family and live on something, pay your bills, but there's no stability. So that's what most of us moved down here first. But then, when you got this stage of like, okay, I'm now established here, I now have a stable job and things like this, then you start looking for some kind of hobbies. That's where you start discovering other opportunities which this beautiful country will give you as well. So I'm grateful for that, man.
So you're a coded welder?
Yeah.
Okay. And with that gives you an opportunity to travel a bit more, doesn't it?
Yeah. In fact, I used to be coded welder, but now I moved up and I'm working as a welding engineer. So I don't weld anymore, but I do a bit more service, maintenance, qualification, certification, quality control, and so on, so on. So.
And what do you do for health, that sort of thing? You're careful about what you eat, careful about what you drink,
Yeah, actually,
you're a big boozer?
I said it's a bit stereotypical, but Eastern Europe is famous for drinking and so on. So I came from a family where it was normal, everyone had their beer, vodka, and so on. And but I always felt it's not my thing. I was at a period where I was drinking a lot of alcohol, but then at some point I decided, I need to stop it because it drains your energy, you got these hangovers and so on. And I started drinking less, and then less and less and less, and then at some point I was like 1 beer a month. And then decided if I don't drink, why not stop completely, So now 2.5 years, no alcohol. And I enjoy it actually. So because I feel my brain improved and so on. I don't judge other people. It's everyone has their own thing. But it gave me because I was doing also actually Capoeira, which is Brazilian martial arts, and there's a lot of movements, acrobatics. So it helped me be more healthier as well. So I also started.
What's it called?
Capoeira.
Okay, and where's it from?
It's from Brazil.
Okay.
It's really fun. Martial arts. It's a blend of martial arts and dance and music.
Like jiu-jitsu?
No. It's more. It's a blend of martial arts and dance. If we had time, I can tell you a bit more about that. So in Brazil, slaves used to use it as a sort of martial arts. They used to practice it and use it as resistance against the masters 200 years ago or so. Then at some point...
they would get away with the practicing of it because it looked like they were dancing.
No, at some point, basically how it was, they realized that it's quite strong power, and they banned it. So you're not allowed to practice capoeira on the streets, nowhere. If they see you, they took you in prison. So what they decided to do, they decided, okay, we pretend we dance. So they start playing music. Most of them worked in the docks, and they're like a big circle of people, and people like dancing. Actually, breakdance partly came from that culture as well.
Did it?
And some of the original movements in breakdance came from capoeira. So, and then when police watching them, they dance. Some police gun, they fight. And that's how they blended fight and dance and music together. So they were using some original kind of musical instruments from African and Latin sort of Spanish culture.
Okay, yeah.
It's a sort of blend. Yeah, and it's become like a part of their culture, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
So how many years have you been doing this?
About 4 or 5 years, but lately I had a back, so I can't do it as much. I'd like to do
hence how we got to know each other a little bit better,
But music is a big part of it, so I still play instruments like drum, and there's another instrument called berimbau, which is like granddad of the guitar or any string instrument.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so it's a single string instrument. You hit it with a stick.
Yes.
And it makes
African.
It was originally from Africa, and then Brazil slightly modified it, and So it's a lot of fun.
So you play drum?
Yeah.
And you play the berimbau?
Yeah.
What else do you play?
Yeah, well, another thing, I was always technical person, welding. I was interested in computers as well, so I was looking for where should I which career I should choose. But at some point, when I was about 35, I decided, no, I can't do it anymore. It's all this metal stuff, all this electronic, all this software, computers. It was like my hobby, And no, I said, I can't take it anymore. I was sitting at home and doing some kind of programming after work, and my son pulling me, saying, "Come on, Daddy, play with me." It was about 3 or 4 or 5 years at that time, and I just couldn't take it. The computer was just, this digital world dragging it in, and I decided, no, that's it, I'll stop, and picked ukulele, started playing ukulele, then drums. Always was interested in it, but never got a chance to actually take it and progress with it. So slowly I started buying instruments, different drums, ukulele, jingles, shakers, flute, and a few others. And then as soon as you start picking up instrument, you start meeting people who also play instruments, like jam nights. There's so many opportunities in Northampton. You can go and open mics, jam nights.
Like where?
There's a place called Karmana. It's like a veggie restaurants. And
It's what, sorry?
Karmana.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
what sort of restaurant is it?
It's like a vegan, vegetarian restaurant. And the owner is a drummer, and they have a jam nights once a month, and we just bring your instrument and join in, and no judgment. You don't have to be a musician, and we have different people coming every month with different instruments, with different energy, and it's just beautiful. Sometimes we come up with different rhythms, with different melodies, just improvising all the time, no preparation.
With lots of different people from different cultures?
As well, yeah. There's a bit mix of Latin music, a bit of Eastern European, a bit of Indian, English, whatever. Yeah.
No, that sounds fun. That's something I may be doing in the future. What's quite interesting is that you have your stringed instruments. It's just about, I play the flute, I play ukulele, I play guitar.
I've
got
should meet up
couple
with
of djembes. Of course, yeah. One day. Just one thing that sort of crossed my mind. There's normally an interesting story to how someone comes into this country. Do you want me just going back to that and asking you, how did you? Was there an interesting story of how you travelled? Did you come by train? Did you come by plane? How did you get to the first time you came to the UK?
Well, first of all, I was lucky that in 2004 Latvia joined the European Union. So before that,
the visas weren't a problem.
Yeah, so I could just come and start work here. However, the first time it was quite difficult. I was actually, for example, talking about English. At school, I had the highest marks. I thought I'm the best in class. My English exam was wonderful. A-levels English was super. And I came here and arrived on this plane. I just bought a ticket, packed up the bag.
How old are you, 24?
22, After all this cockroach
things.
Yeah. 3 days later, I already flown in and arrived to Heathrow. And I need to buy a drink. So I come to the booths or something, B.H. Smith, and ask for, can I have a drink, please? And the lady behind the counter, she asked me something, and I go, I'm sorry, and she's, I said, no, I just want a drink. And she, what language she speaks? I'm in England, and I said, could you please repeat? And she's like, would you like a Diet Coke or Zero Coke or something like that?
Yeah.
But so the way she said that,
the speed she said it was too fast.
I felt okay, all right. So we got over that, but then arrived to this factory where I should work, and in the morning.
So you arrived by plane?
Yes,
okay,
not at the back of the lorry.
No, no, it's much better way of arriving.
Yeah, and next day I went to work and this factory, and it was exactly the same. I couldn't not communicate, to the point I thought I'm not going to get a job because it was like, so this agency already arranged, so we're going to arrive, they're going to support us in the first steps.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like I arrived, I have an interview, or then I already had a job. But nevertheless, the communication was absolutely difficult. Took me not more than a year to get used to pronunciation, in order to understand that. And my English, perfect English, which been taught in school, London is the capital of Great Britain, but they couldn't understand me either. So because
you were learning the base language. So, I know how you feel. I'm doing it the same. Yeah. I'm learning Ukrainian at the moment, and it's obviously the alphabet is different. What is a B in the UK is a V in Ukrainian. It's a real everything's mixed up, jumbled up. Ends are P's and P's are R's. It's a mess. Yeah. But it's and what we normally we have our alphabet in the UK suddenly changes to 33 symbols in Ukrainian. So I'm enjoying myself at the moment. And I'm certainly, this will be my third trip coming up in October to Ukraine.
All right.
So I'm excited about going back there and using my very pidgin Ukrainian. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll probably get bored of that within probably the first 15 minutes and go back to speaking English and wait for them to suddenly sink into English and then start speaking that language to me. So I'm quite excited about using language, and I'm quite aware of how difficult it is when you learn language, then go to a country and find that it's totally different when you get there, what you've learned and how it works. And the speed is a totally different thing. Speed can change things, can't it? The other thing I was interested in as well is with yourself. Every country and every culture has different ways of doing food, and I've obviously spent a couple of evenings with you in the past, and your wife and your son, and see how your family eat. And fresh vegetables, obviously organic. You go out your way to find food that's in British culture. It's a little bit different. What's your sort of process behind all that? How do you work out? I've not seen you drink anything with sugar. I know that you sometimes fast. What's your idea on food consumption and health?
Well, it's quite difficult as well. One of the things which I've found that different countries have different sort of attitude to the food, and standards are a bit different. So a lot of people find British English food is a bit. Cuisine is a bit boring, compared to Spanish, French, where it was difficult for me as well in the beginning to adjust to the habits and things you buy in shops, because food is completely different. Packaging is different, preparation is different, and it's a bit big country. It's a bit more processed food here as well. But where I come from, there's more local farmers, more less processed food, more something you buy and cook yourself. But it's improving now, actually, because a lot of people a bit more conscious.
What you've been in this country, it's improving. Okay.
When I 2004 and now there's much more variety of organic stuff and labels like local grown stuff, and it's improved a lot. We
buy organic.
I do when I can, but I'm not very fast about it. I believe, I don't know, that our planet's a bit contaminated now, so even organic stuff perhaps is not 100% organic.
No, I don't doubt that at all. I completely agree. I think that things that are organic. I heard that on the Waitrose shelves at the moment, that the organic area, a friend of mine went in there and asked about, he'd been told that some of the vegetables had been sprayed with a pesticide and a chemical that would make them also last a bit longer, and asked the cashier, knowing the cashier wouldn't know. So the cashier asked the supervisor. The supervisor didn't know. The supervisor went to the manager, and the manager said, "I'll find out," and came back. It all happened within 15 minutes. and said, yes, actually there was the organic food had been sprayed with a coating, which would have made it, usually if it was done at the farm, it would no longer be classed as organic. Okay. So there's all sorts of things happening at the moment. But not to say that for me, my choice is to buy organic, because you are supporting the farmers who are trying their best to keep things in the pattern of nature. Yeah. And I think going off the pattern of nature, it can only go one way. So I will still be buying from places like Waitrose in the organic place, and I will certainly go to farmers. I don't go to farmers markets, but there are a few farms around Daventry that I go to. And there's a garden centre also that sells vegetables and meats and that are all organic, and they're very proud of what they stock in there, so I'm very happy to go there as well. So there are places, and it fills my heart to actually help and support these people. And yes, it is sometimes more expensive, but I'm afraid what will happen in the end anyway, when the organic people have gone, if they do lose the fight, food will go up. It'll all go up anyway. It's all about profits, isn't it? So while they're there, and I hope they stay, I'll be supporting them. I think everyone, it's not a bad thing if people do. So your family, it's important that I think I've only ever seen you drink water. You don't drink alcohol.
No, not anymore. I think 2.5 years no alcohol. Yeah. Actually, I became vegetarian 3.5 years ago, and vegan since New Year. Okay,
so no alcohol.
No.
Then you went to being vegetarian.
First vegetarian, then no alcohol, then vegan since New Year.
How do you survive? You look so healthy. How do you?
Well, I think it's quite big misconception that all this vegan, you need meat and so on. So maybe veganism or vegetarianism is not for everyone. Some people can't. Like my wife, I'm actually the only one vegan in the family. So cooking is a bit of a challenge. We used to cook and share the food together. Now probably we share 30% of food, but most of it I have to cook for myself. It was this vegan-y stuff, New Year resolution. Okay, for 1 month I become vegan, see how it goes. And I decided, I'll do that, and actually I so enjoyed it. Realized it's not that difficult.
I don't think it is very difficult for Eastern European type cultures, because you're used to eating raw foods, vegetables, sitting with a load of things, get a sharp knife, start cutting up your fruit and veg and eating it on a plate. That's all the preparation you need, lots of bright colours. This is pretty much vegan, but it's the only thing obviously is it's without the meat, it's without the eggs. It's without the dairy, isn't it? So
it is true, but at the same time, when I go to Latvia, it's miles away. It's not nowhere near as popular as in UK. So if I go to the shop, there's a shelf like that with a vegetarian food. None of them is vegan. So actually, when I go to Latvia, I sometimes have to revert to vegetarian, because otherwise there won't be anything to eat. Unless I just Does
that affect your stomach when you go from vegan to vegetarian?
No.
No difference at all?
No, I do it once a year when I go on holiday. But as Eastern Europeans are big meat eaters. Yes, it's true about fresh veggies and so on, but at the same time it all comes with meat. And when you say I'm vegan here in UK, people respect it. Oh, yeah, well done. When you say I'm vegan in Latvia, people...
I'm not so sure I agree with people respect you if you're vegan in this country. I think they might smile and go, okay. You're one of those, but actually it is pretty much, you're one of those. Yeah, it's always a pain in the arse. It's the biggest problem that we get is when someone comes to your home and you're cooking them dinner and they say they're vegan, and you've got to go, right, I haven't got a clue what that means. I think that's where Britain is at the moment, generally. It's like, does that mean there'll be a discussion in the kitchen? Does that mean we can cook with butter or we can't cook with butter? Can we cook with this oil? Can we cook with that oil? What's in, what's out. It's quite... So I think vegan is a bit of a problem. Vegetarian, it's a lot easier. By the way, I was a vegetarian for a year. I went vegetarian. And I came away from the vegetarian food because I wanted to become more healthy. And all I found was I'd put on a stone at the end of it.
Yeah,
which is a common scenario. So I thought,
yes.
before I put on any more weight,
Yeah.
I'm just going to step away from this temporarily, and just carry on with the organic situation. And we don't eat a lot of meat anyway. We tend to focus when we do eat meat on fish, fresh fish, which often I'll catch myself. You know, I do a bit of trout fishing. You probably don't want to hear this, Dimitri, but it's true. And so this is where I'm getting my organic, fresh food from.
Yeah.
And but like I say, we don't eat a great deal. I'd probably eat less than a cigarette box of meat a day, which is a lot less than most people. And I've got quite a big frame to sort of to feed, and I've done well. The other thing I do, which I don't know about yourself, do you fast?
Yes, I do. Intermittent fasting. Lately, I haven't done so much since I actually become vegan. I don't need to do it as much.
No.
Another thing of benefits when I become vegetarian, what I notice straight away, it's my energy levels. Rather than being like that, they become like
much more even.
Yeah. For example, after having heavy dinner with some meat, especially with
What's that?
heavy. I mean, not. I mean, a full dinner. You know.
Yes,
like
a big dinner.
not
Yeah,
like
or a big
dinner.
large breakfast.
Yes, you feel a bit like, because your body needs a lot of energy to digest it, process it.
Yeah.
And during this process, you're a bit lazy.
Robbing
you wanna lay
Peter to
down.
pay Paul a little bit. Yeah.
So I found when now I feel much more energy.
Yeah.
So at work, good example, I work until 4:15. By 3:00, I used to be sleepy. I was like, I want to go home now. I'm full of energy, ready to go until 5 and so on. I can sleep better because my quality of sleep improved, because if I eat in the evening, say 6, 7 o'clock, have a meal, have a chicken or pork or whatever, your digestion process is quite long. So while you sleep, again, body spends energy rather than recovering.
So it's not resting, it's actually still working.
So now I used to sleep 8 hours, now it's 7 hours for me. It's more than enough. So there are benefits, and I don't need to drink coffee. Don't need drink coffee to boost my energy levels. Again, they like more level. So with coffee, you have a big energy intake. Not intake, I was after coffee, half an hour, 1 hour, and then it drops. Now a bit more level. And fasting, same thing. Rather than fast, I just have big intervals between meals. Not like a day fasting, but I do like, there's different, like 8, 12, or 8, 16, something like that. Yeah, sometimes I practice that.
I do 16, 17 hours every day, and I've been doing it now for the last 2 months.
Really? Wow, that's excellent.
And but I do drink black coffee during that time. I certainly get through 2.5 to 3 litres of water a day, filtered water as well. I won't drink from the tap.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm taking out the chlorine and the fluoride, because I think I'm glad it's in there, but I don't want to. It keeps the water good until it gets to my tap, and then after that, I want to be putting it in a glass that is not going to be going into my body. If it's good enough to kill bacteria, then it's going to be killing living things, and I don't want living things dying in my body. I'm a living thing, so I filter all that out, and then I drink, like I say, 2.5 litres, 3 litres of filtered water a day, and that works well for me. So you said that your wife is not a vegetarian.
No.
So she's just eating normal
she
food?
just loves the taste of meat, and she doesn't like. Well, one of the reasons why it made me so easy to go vegan and vegetarian and vegan is I started enjoying Indian food. So there's a lot of lentils, a lot of hot food, rice, and so it's easy to cook it. Curries and this kind of food, and I enjoy it, and it's very healthy.
And you're living in Northampton, so is it easy to get hold of?
Yeah, local Indian shops that sell a lot of products to make Indian cuisine, and I have some friends who gave me some good recipes, and I become so creative with cooking, where I never was, because when you're a meat eater, it's very easy to become lazy. Have a steak, have something else.
Yeah.
Simple. and you have most of the nutrients from the simple foods. With being vegetarian or vegan, you need to be more creative to get more variety of different grains, different vegetables, different foods in order to get all the nutrients you need. Otherwise, you might get a bit of deficiency like B12 and so on. So that's actually puts a lot of people off. They think, oh, it's getting too complicated. You know? You need, because people are lazy. You know, they want quick food. This junk, this junk food culture. But now it's becoming much easier because there's a lot of vegan food, big counters in Tesco's, Waitrose. I use it sometimes, processed food as well. Although you just I haven't got time. I need just something quick.
What about oils? What sort of oils are you using? I know there's a lot people writing at the moment about a lot of the oils that we're cooking and frying with were originally designed for engineering. For the vegetable oil used and designed for this viscosity, special viscosity for certain ways of using it with mechanics, and suddenly someone had the great idea that actually maybe we could sell this to the general public for cooking foods.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a massive amount of information to find out about that. So the only bottles I was told you should buy as far as oil is concerned is not to say you can't buy plastic bottled oil, but you're much more likely to get a good inert oil that's used for cooking if you buy it out of a glass bottle.
Okay.
So anything in plastic bottles, they really don't care too much about the quality of the oils. But it's massive. You can't just go on, listen to a podcast and think, oh, it's just glass. You really need to read a lot about this stuff and to learn. But of course, the more you learn about it, the more there is to learn. And it really does open up a bit of a nasty box there. So yeah, I tend to buy glass. It just went on and on. It becomes almost a hobby when you're dealing with food, doesn't it?
Yes.
So organic, where you buy your food from, is it really organic? How much water should I be drinking? Should I be eating salt? Oh, you shouldn't. So there's salt in me. What sort of salt should we be eating? And then the next minute you're thinking about whether you do need some sort of salt. Himalayan salt is very good. Oh, great. So Himalayan salt's good. And what else? What other sort of salts? And it goes on and on and on.
I know exactly what you're saying. Actually, in oils, you can go even next level up. I have a friend which inspired me, and that's my next level. You buy oil press and do oil yourself. So she have this oil press, and so she binds grains, so anything you can make oil from, even hemp, for example. So for example, you buy a bag of hemp, load this press and press it. It's automatic or hand pressing where you, there's a threaded press.
Yeah, I understand.
And then leave it. Then within 24 hours or so, maybe more, drop by drop, you have a little jar of oil which you made yourself out of something you just. And it's absolutely. I love this idea. That's my next step is you buy one of these.
For me, it seems you can't go too far wrong with a glass bottle of olive oil, and that's what I'll be what I'll be sticking to. But with all of the food, your sort of general lifestyle, it sounds like you're bordering on Buddhism.
Well, I actually am Buddhist. I was initiated as Buddhist in 2005 when I went to Tibet.
You went to Tibet?
Yeah, so there was 3 weeks in
We've just spent half an hour talking about Northampton and foods, and then you tell me that you are Buddhist and you lived in Tibet. Okay.
But when...
all that means is we'll have to bring you on again another time. Sorry, go on.
But if you're Buddhist, you believe that the temple in the world is inside of you. You don't have to go anywhere. You close your eyes, meditate, and you take yourself wherever you want. So being there somewhere physically, it might not necessarily going to give you enough as much inspiration, impression as if you go inside of you and find these. So, but it's certain help.
What, you went on holiday there? You traveled there?
We had a group, like expedition. So 3 days in Nepal and then 3 weeks in Tibet.
How old were you?
20. It was a year actually after I moved to UK.
Right.
My first couple of grand, which I can spend.
Yeah.
in Latvia.
Where are you going to go? Benidorm? No. Actually,
Yes,
proper holiday. I'm
that's
going to go to Tibet and
yeah.
see something. Okay.
Yeah, so I went with my mom, her boyfriend,
Yeah.
because they're into these kind of things, like same as me. Actually, I'm because of my mom. I become sort of went same way as her.
Yeah.
And started interested in spirituality and all different things like Buddhism and other teachings, and all. And we went to Tibet. It was so good. People there, like, they so poor. Yeah, don't have luxury like we have. They live in simple houses. They use yaks. Yak is like animal. It's like a truck. They use yaks for everything. They carry their goods. Their pool. They use it to cook as a fuel to heat their homes, as an insulator to insulate their walls. To do milk as well. So
they're using these animals, the yak.
Yes.
The yak is for everything.
Yeah.
Travel, they're lighting fires with the manure.
Because they don't have much vegetation, so they use whatever they... and they eat meat. You can't... there's no vegetables. You can't be vegan there. So this is another thing. Some of the people in the world, they just... It's the way they are. The part geographically located, they can't be vegetarian. You can't force them. They will die. But they're ever so nice people. They all smile. They got nothing. They got more money. They're struggling with the food. But you ask, are you happy? Yes, I am happy. And you give them some gifts. You share something. Give them jacket or whatever, new jacket, some maybe some digital device. There was no phones at that time, but I gave camera. They're happy. It's for them. It's like wow.
Yeah.
And it made me change my perception of the world.
How long were you there for?
3 weeks.
Okay.
And we were
3 weeks. You went Buddhist.
Yeah. So we were. It was like we were traveling and stopped in different. It wasn't like just for Buddhism. We didn't stay at one place like a monastery. We were traveling, say from Nepal up through the mountains, through the Serpentine Road into the plateau of Tibet, which is nothing. For 3 weeks, you're on these jeeps going along this desert, these beautiful views, and the weather changing, and it was like the weather in Tibet it's another topic of conversation. You can have your one hand in sun and have a sunburn, and have another hand in the shadow and have a frostbite at the same time, and that's literally what we had.
So what did you get from the people were good, but did you feel an energy from the place?
Yeah, so I was looking for some kind of I was like, I think, okay, Tibet is... I read a lot of books. It's a magical place. There's a lot of books about all these monks. They there were a couple of books I read where there's a monks which guard in some kind of entrance in the hidden passages in mountains where there are some kind of aliens buried in 3 meters long, and they don't want anyone to know about them. But things like this, stories like that. So it was very, very, curious to see what it's like, and and we went to some places which considered to be as places of power, of some kind of history or something there. Special energy, thing like this. And there's a mountain called Kalash. It's mountain looks like a pyramid, and they believe that there's 2 religions in the world: Buddhism, Hinduism, and there's another one, 3 religions. I apologize. Which believe this is like a sacred mountain, and it's the border or between our world and parallel world. So it's very interesting. And literally, mountains look like pyramid. And there's more. One read a book I've read. There's a certain distances between different monuments around the world, which all have same mileage.
Right.
So
between each,
the Egyptian pyramid
yeah.
and this Kailash, and Stonehenge,
Right.
and there is Easter Islands with the figures, and they're all connected into the network of some kind of thing like this, which been built by our ancestors. So it was very, very fascinating. I was young, I wanted to be there. But I was a bit disappointed because I didn't find any magic. I didn't find any, I don't know.
3 meter high aliens.
Yeah, but it was a good experience, great experience, yeah.
But it was enough to offer you a huge amount of spirituality.
Yeah, definitely, because
Is that the biggest thing that's changed you? Do you think?
It's one of them things. One of the things is because energy is special there, and it's like a pilgrimage. You walk. This mountain, you have to go do a walk, and the Buddhists believe every time you walk around it, you revert your karma, you improve in your karma, so all the bad karma goes sort of away. So they believe in reincarnation, so one circle around it, you need to have less, reincarnate once less in this physical world. That's what they believe, and we were walking there, 5,000 meters. There's no oxygen, so you do 3 steps and you just run the stadium.
Right.
But Buddhists, they jump around in it. Or some others, they're very, very devoted believers. They actually crawl around this mountain. It's 3 days. Yeah, 3 days. It's a path, so it's about 60, 70 miles. You have to walk around. But yeah, I had a temperature at 40. I had a fever and everything. Where the oxygen, some people in our expedition were really poor state, where to carry them, but we made it. And it's this kind of experience give you changing you.
Yeah,
It's like a big meditation where you go and you feel, what I'm doing here, I'm suffering, the body's suffering, but you believe some kind of, you're gonna get some.
What are you looking to do in the future? Have you got any plans for the next sort of couple of years? Things that you want to do? Some goals?
Yeah, I'm interested in music. I'm a bit of music journey. I never was a musician, never educated like musician. So I started doing music when I was 35, as many people before. Yeah, and now met quite a couple of good groups I'm hanging around with, like a djembe group, Capoeira group, like a jam nights in Carmana, and I met a couple of musicians. We're involved in certain we have a couple of these, but some projects, some jamming together, and going to the festivals and the workshops. So so
lots of mixing with like-minded people.
Like-minded people
who are on the same journey of music and spirituality.
Because I find music really helps. Spirituality is all about disconnecting from, not disconnecting, but how to say, with all this corporeal world, you are constantly scrolling this news feed, TikTok, Instagram. You are. I believe we all want to have some kind of pleasures. We want to fulfill our desires, fulfill our brain with some kind of information, and we're constantly looking for this. It's like a consumerism, consumerism. We want to eat, grab them, find always something new to eat, where we get some energy, and same as information. We also become very consuming information become one of ours. It's like junk food, same as junk information. So I believe you can actually be vegan as the physically food eater, but it's also veganism in regards of information.
That's really interesting.
Because if you keep consuming this junk information, there's hundreds of videos on TikTok.
And it does affect us. It affects us. Yes, the negative vibration of the news and the things that might happen. this is going on, it can actually affect us in the same way as eating McDonald's every day. It's and Burger King. Let's not leave them out. And Kentucky Fried Chicken and all that rest of the stuff. That's massive amounts of polluted oil, huge amounts of salts and sugars and fizzy drinks for your kids.
And I believe that information, junk information, has a more is strong in fact than even food, because our brain is the biggest consumer of energy, physical and mental. So so we are attacking our poor brain from all the
both
sides.
Yes,
and you will find, when you on this phone a couple 3 hours, you become a little bit more stressed, a little bit more tense, and
more unhealthy than you were when you started. Yeah.
So there's a couple of
before you started the meal.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, look, Dimitri, I'm going to have to wind it up on that, but only for this time, because I definitely want to bring you back. In fact, I'm thinking I brought in a good friend of both of ours, actually, a mutual friend. We brought Daz, and there's a couple of things that I've got some questions for both you and Daz, and it might be good to bring you both in at the same time. So the three of us in the same room talking about things, but we'll probably do that in something like October, November, if that's all right with you. Really, it's been a pleasure having you on here for the 6th episode of Being Human. So again, thank you very much, my friend. It's been a pleasure having you on there. Really interesting learning about your family and your journeying. And also your eating habits, and we didn't even talk about sleeping habits too much, but the whole thing's been really interesting. And of course, one of the reasons why we know is because you are one of my clients, my chiropractic clients. So I've really enjoyed, and thank you for accepting the invite and coming on. So thanks very much. And if you've enjoyed the podcast today, then please like and subscribe. I know I've certainly enjoyed it, and I will look forward to doing it again for episode 7. Thank you.